Friends Club, hanging out. That's right. Okay, afternoon as well. Mm. Yeah, what could be better? We don't get Friday though, so yeah, we gained a few, lost one. Don't forget that there is no market on Friday due to Good Friday and Easter. Good morning, John. Good to have you. Coffee indeed. Good morning, LK. Bob was on time. Magnificent. Happy Bunny Week to you, Ernest. Good morning. Good morning, Mario. Good to see everyone. Welcome to the Tradespoon Live Trading Room, Stocks and Options, Opening Bell. I am Scott. I am the head trading coach. What a fancy title that is. And I'm your friend. Trading for a while, teaching for a while. Here's the disclosures. We're rattling through it. We want to get to it this morning. Start talking about the market. That's what we want to do. Get into it. We'll get this out of the way. Let's jump here. Okay. So we started on Monday, and I said I'm bullish, but I think we may be seeing a consolidation, right? We may have a pullback or two. In fact, I think we even on Friday said Wednesday, we may have signals to be talking about. And sure enough, we had a couple of days of consolidation, but on real weak volume. So let's start with that for a second. No, I want this one here. I want this one here, and I want SPY. And sure enough, what do we have? A little selling. Now, there was a little bit above average volume here. So do I think, oh yeah, that's going to hurt? No, because look, we went from 521 and a half to 521. I mean, we literally dropped 60 cents. So it was a weird day in that we had above average volume, but we had very minimum range and very minimum distance. Range meaning from open to close, hardly anything. The open to the close, the range was 90 cents. And from the previous close to the current close, good morning, Fred. Good to see you. So do I say, oh yeah, look at that, the sellers are ramping up? Nah, I say there was definitely more above average volume, but they just didn't do anything. The next day, you can see no volume. Yesterday, we gapped up, and then we sort of drifted back down. Drifted, why? Why do I say drifted rather than sold off? Because the volume was below average. And so we have this flag type pattern, and now what's happening? Today, we look at our, we look at our futures. Oh, look at this magnificent bull. 5 months straight, you say? And history favors momentum. Strength begets strength. Of course it does. Bullish, 5 months of bullishness. That's what? March, February, January, December, November. Yeah, that makes sense. We came out of October, November. Yes, we should definitely have some nice signals today, Bob. Amen to that. Russell 0.65. A lot of parity there today. Everything's moving pretty well. Crude oil down 0.6. Yeah. I mean, it's something, I guess. We're hoping. U.S. futures point higher after S&P's 3-day losing streak. Who calls it a losing streak? I mean, it went down. Yahoo needs new financial writers for their headlines. That's what I think. The experts aren't so confident in the antitrust case against Apple. What else? What is a spot Bitcoin ETF and why has it sparked a crypto rally? Well, an ETF has to buy something to track something, right? So, GBTC owns Bitcoin as part of that portfolio. Same kind of a thing. It's got to buy something. And when it buys something, it's going to put pressure on it, right? Why Trump's social media company's a meme stock? Okay, what else? OpenAI lawsuits are a bullish signal like the early days of Facebook. Mega Millions, Powerball, jackpot soared to new heights. There's really not. Oh, here we go. The Fed is going to make inflation worse with rate cut promises. Fred is that's an interesting perspective. I wondered if it's like just stop talking about it and relax. Speaking of the Fed, it's looking more and more like June. Let me know if you're in a June camp or a July camp. May 10-1 against. This is the probability factor of rate cuts. June 2-1 for. Now that's actually come down. We were higher than that. 67.25 a week ago. Now we're 64.29. So although it's up from a month ago, down from a week ago. July, that's the one where we're really seeing it. It's held pretty steady. What was I saying? June is 62-1. July is almost a certainty, right? We're definitely going to get them. Okay, what else? Economic news. Remember today, nothing really, just some Fed speak. Tomorrow, we have GDP and a consumer sentiment report, but not much expected from either of those. Friday's the day, which is interesting because we are getting all of that economic data despite the market being closed. Right? It's interesting. I mean, the market is closed, right? Maybe am I missing something? Maybe it's not closed. I did this one time earlier where I'm like, oh yeah, the market's closed, and then it wasn't, and I just didn't show up. That was not good. Someone confirm for me. Market holidays 2024. I'm just gonna make sure. Good Friday. Yeah, we're closed. Friday closed. Yes, right? Okay. We're in agreement. A lot of times when they close the market, they push that's another reason why. A lot of times when they close the market, they push the economic data, right? So no, we just have a bunch of data coming out Friday morning. Yeah, it's odd, right? We're all thinking it's a little weird, right? Thank you. I thought I was going crazy. Ernest said he did it around Christmas season. Yeah, I can't. It wasn't long ago that I did it, where I'm just like telling everyone market's closed and it was open. They're like, "Did you just not show up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, apparently I just was like off on my own little break." So bad. Okay, but yes, a bunch of data will come out. Market's closed, and then on Monday we'll see all that. It's going to percolate all weekend before we come back. We'll see. Should be interesting. I don't know. I mean, like for example, jobs. There's jobs reports that will get pushed because of a holiday. Sometimes if they do a holiday on a Monday and it falls on a jobs report on the Friday, they'll still push it to the next week. So it's just kind of Weird. I mean, I don't think there's bad economic data right now, is there? I take that back. It could be bad in the PCE. We could have. Well, when we say bad, we mean where we don't want to see inflation stuck. And that's what that banker in that article was talking about. Like, if everybody starts to behave in anticipation of the rates coming down, then they're going to adversely impact it before it comes down. So that could be interesting. But I don't think anyone has any real negative expectations for economic data. Okay, let's see. Stella says, what? Bullish still on the S&P. Looking for that bottom here. Here's today, just kind of a little pause, ready to kick back up. Love it. QQQ. Bullish coming out of its flag bullishly. That looks strong. DIA. I mean, sure enough, we have a quorum. All right. Markets opening. We have bullish signals. We have a bullish seasonal chart. You can see, what do we expect? A nice bull run up into early April, maybe a pause after that, followed by another nice run. Two windows. That's everything. Let's go take a peek. Okay. Market has opened higher. You can see. We're call that a break if you draw your flag like this, right? Realistically, I'm gonna have to say I need a little more, right? I need this thing to kick a little bit more by the end of the day. So we're gonna wait. It could fluctuate. We could drop a little here in the morning and then get the signal in the afternoon. So let's take a peek at our opening range. Yeah, right. If we settle and we fluctuate a little bit, let's just be patient. Don't be hasty. So, okay. Let's take a look at the VIX, and then we'll take a look at the watch list. Yeah, so you can see the VIX here. Actually, I don't know. Has anyone had any weird issues with Thinkorswim since it's come across to Schwab? So two things. Number one, for whatever reason, no matter where I click on the VIX, it tells me it's not tradable on my watch list. I'm like, no shit. I don't care. I'm not trying to trade it. I just want to see it. It just like stalls. It's not like it's this critical, like, oh, it takes me one click to get out of it, but still, it's a hassle. And toggle using arrow keys. Boom, 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 so fast. But sometimes I can't, and I have to get my mouse and click on every single symbol. It's ridiculous. I don't have time to click on every single symbol. My God, man. Okay, let's talk about Apple. So if you were thinking about it, you're still thinking about it. Am I wrong? Here's the low. We got a nice little bull kick. We got some negative news that accelerated it down, and it got really close, but it's still technically a higher low. Your stochastics is starting to pinch. Yeah, is this thing maybe going to try to make a run? Maybe now's where it tries to pop above the 50. That's not a bad trade from here to here, right? Have the buyers done enough to convince us Bob said, I thought you didn't trade down. It had a V, Bob. Did you not see the V? It had a V. It didn't get above the 50. I get that. But it had a V, and now it's making a higher low. So is it still trending down? Is it? I don't know. Drop this line you're saying? This volume. Don't try to convince me otherwise. It's a higher low and a higher high. Huh? Boom, higher high. There we go. Let's keep talking. We're just stopping and thinking. Look, I'm bullish. I'm willing to have a number of trades on. I'll tell you, in a number of sectors. AIG. See, now this one's tough. I think it is valid. I think this was your consolidation. But even here, I think that there's better trades. I think this was the consolidation, and we're popping up out of it. Stochastics is turning. It's all overbought, and it's going to stay overbought as long as it's trending up from here. If it ever makes like a good consolidation back to the 50, then it might reset and give you another one of these. But if you're waiting for that, you can miss a lot of bullish activity. AMD trying to hold on to the 50. If you like chips, I actually think chips right now are like iffy. I think chips are iffy. Amazon is kind of grinding. I'm not a huge fan right now. AXP looks great. A lot of financials setting up and looking good. The question just simply becomes, when do you have enough that you believe the buyers have reached a threshold? It's right on the verge of breaking these flags. So there you go. A V is only a V when two V's are connected. Then the pattern is bullish, but that's two V's is a W. No, you don't really have V's anymore, right? That's a W. So a V is going to occur in context of an inverted head and shoulders, the V being the head. Two V's is a W, which creates a double bottom, which could sometimes even be followed by another touch, which would make a triple bottom. So I actually would say that's I mean, yeah, you're going to limit yourself if you think that way. V's are actually signal. If you go back, you can find historically pattern after pattern after pattern. The essential necessity, however, is the next subsequent move, where after the V, if I get a higher low, right? If I get a higher low, that's significantly more bullish than a second V, right? If I come down like this and then I do this, what does that tell me about the sellers here? Versus if I come back down to here, the sellers were just as strong as they were here. It's empirical, right? So, all right. AXP, strong, ready. Whether it's triggered or not, that's where we're all going to have to make that final decision. Boeing, nothing here. So Boeing is not a V, right? I came from here. I dropped. I came up some. That's not a V. I'm still heading down here. A V means I got back up. Bing. Then after the V, if I pull back, that's when it would be strong. I don't need it to double bottom, right? Look back. Do you see a double bottom over here? No, there was no W. And yet, look at the beautiful reversal, right? No W. So if you're waiting for W's to show up for reversals, you're not going to find that very often. You're going to be like, oh, look, it's already reversed. But Boeing, nah, not interested. BLDR, beautiful flag. W. Bull flag. It's set up. It's ready. Just waiting for what? Buyers to convince us. Citigroup. Citigroup kind of just kept going. Very strong. Caterpillar. Flag turning. This looks great. This looks like it's a go. Let's see what Stella thinks about something like Caterpillar. Can you hear me? Did we get sound back? Back. I don't know what happened. It just kind of froze. Sorry about that all. Is Yahoo Finance a pay to view? Nope. Nope. In fact, nothing that I pull up needs it. So, however, so I'll look at like this Chicago Mercantile, the CME. I'll look at Finviz. Finviz has paid, but I don't use it. But I do use this heat map, and I do use their search tools for free. I use Market Watch. If you try to read their articles, they'll try to charge you. But if you're just looking at the economic calendar, no. Yahoo Finance. Yeah, I hate paying for sites. I'm a cheap bastard. Wear it like a badge of honor. To the cup and handle, right? We made this cup, and now we've gotten all the way back up. This is what I'm looking for here, right? If this handle comes, it's a higher low. I'm going to trade it because if it breaks out, it's going to be tough on the market, and I want to make sure I have something that's capitalizing on that. I'm pretty sure at least a few of you have some oil trades on. I'm probably looking to lock some gains in at this point. We'll see. All right, Costco keeps trying. It's not dropping anymore, but every signal just sort of gives this little false start. I don't know. That's a judgment call. I think Walmart looks a little stronger. CrowdStrike, kind of the same thing. Really starting to hit some resistance here. What might make a W, or in this case, I guess you might call this an M. When you talk about a W or an M or a V, you're talking about resistance levels, right? If I hit this one, now this one here, it got through it, but by the end of the day, where was it? Back below. So it was there for maybe an hour, maybe 10 minutes, and it fell out. Who knows? All I know is we've hit this same resistance 3 times in the last 2 months. Recency, frequency. The more times it's hit in the shorter period, the stronger that level becomes. Yeah? That's why these types of levels are important to me. I'm not dogmatic about like this is a V, so it always or never, or this is. At the end of the day, we're speculators. What does that mean? We're taking risk in the face of uncertainty. What's another way to put that then? What's a better, more common word for speculators? We're guessers. A lot of people don't like it when I say that, but if you can't predict the future, you're guessing at it. Can we put together a plan based on evidence? Like, can we build a case that says, hey, statistically, when this happens, but it's statistically. If it happens 60% of the time, 40% of the time it doesn't, etc. Had to look it up. Inclined to lay down principles as incontrovertibly true. Yeah, that's what I meant. Isn't that how I used it? I think it is. I'm not dogmatic about it. It's sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. It's not incontrovertible. Bob's checking me today. He's like, no, you're not going to make up words today, buddy. Okay, where was I? Let's go. I'm a little behind. Let's catch up. Delta is looking pretty strong. DHI flagging. So this is what we have. A lot of this, we run up and now we have a pause. I tell you right now, the easiest way to be successful in the market, I'll say it over and over again. Find a bull market, buy the dips. That's it. Eventually, will it go wrong? Of course, because eventually the trend will end. But if you just keep buying the dip, 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 that's what we're doing here. You just saw what the article on Yahoo said. Strength begets strength. When they see it strong, it continues to push. All the elements are in place. Everybody's employed. Not only is everybody employed, or at least enough, right? We haven't lost jobs. Not only is everybody employed, but they're starting to contribute more to retirement. So statistically, there's empirical evidence that suggests the institutions will have increasingly more funds to put into the market. So they put it in the market. It's where we are. It's great. Trade it until it expects to. It's a tight opening range for sure. Trade it until expect it to keep going until we see otherwise. And I've seen nothing to suggest otherwise yet, which is what I've been saying since November. And here we are 5 months later with a nice bull run. Hopefully, we've all capitalized on that. Here's the Dow. So the Dow is actually showing more of a signs of like a turn, right? You see that turn and you're like, oh, the stochastics is turning. We're starting to try to catch it. Ford pulled back, starting to stabilize. I would love to see it stabilize at a higher low because there's that 1, 2, 3 resistance at 13 again. But if it only takes a small pause and then ramps up, maybe this time it can break through. Fast and all. So my two favorite sectors in 2024 have been industrials and financials. They have performed phenomenally well. Trade after trade. You can see it. We just had a great one on fast and all. And now what is it doing? Setting up, getting ready to go again. Okay, let's get ready. We have time to get another trade in before earnings, right? Plenty of time to get one more in. Love it. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin kind of like started, then paused, then jumped, and now is like settling in. I don't know. I think people are expecting these like long runs on Bitcoin, which just aren't coming. This one was pretty good right here. And then it had, this was a nasty consolidation, right? Like, it was almost a 25% drop. And then we got another one. And this one does not seem to be, but we'll see what happens. Um, a V on no highs to overcome. I mean, this is kind of right. It's tried to come back up, but it's really fallen short. I don't know. We'll see. GE starting to. I told you I wasn't going to do anything with it, but you had to be ready for it. It's a meme stock now. GE. It's just getting ready to run and run again. Gold staying fairly high. Google. I'm waiting for the next pullback on this. At this point, we're so close to this all-time high hitting resistance. I think it's going to pull back a little. Home Depot setting up for another trade. IBM potentially setting up right here. I told you I don't like chips. Intel's no better. IWM holding up, but not doing much now. JP Morgan strong, looking to turn. I'll tell you what, financials and industrial. What do I like? Well, I like this. I like Meta. Even if it dropped a little below here, but not below here. So this moving average, yeah, I'd like to see it stabilize between maybe I'd say like 470 and 485. It's got a little range in there. I think Meta looks great. Morgan Stanley, strong, nice little cup and handle pattern. There's your handle ready to go. Microsoft. It's been a while, but yeah, Microsoft looks great. Absolutely. New highs. It's pulling back on below average volume. This looks fantastic. I'm in for it. Looks good. Netflix, kind of a grinder, right? Like Amazon and Netflix both kind of have a very similar look and feel. Netflix from communication services, Amazon from consumer discretionary. NVIDIA stalling a little bit. This is what I mean when I say chips are a little overblown right now. There's not a lot of good places to go. Why are we forcing chip trades when we have Microsoft and Meta and we have financials and industrials? So we have good places to be looking and trading right now. NVIDIA seems to be pulling back. Picard looks great. Looking for the next pull or trigger, I mean, right? Looking for it. It's pulling back. Just looking for the pop. PLTR tried, but it's a little stalled out now. QQQ kind of sitting. SMCI. Okay, so SMCI, so expensive and the volatility is so high. It got a little bit of a pop. What would I do with this? So if this came down and it went down to here and then stabilized and turned, yes, these are getting lower, but now I have these getting higher. So what would this become? This becomes a triangle. And if I can try to catch the triangle at the bottom, I would try to catch it. I'm bullish. Triangles are continuation patterns. Right? So that's a great opportunity to try to catch it, even though it's not in a downtrend. It's still overall going up. You can see the same kind of a thing happened here. Wouldn't it have been nice to catch this in the triangle before if you wait for it to break the triangle, there was nothing left. You had to catch it in the triangle. This is a better trade. That's what I'm thinking about with something like this. SPY. I mean, we're holding up. Like we said, it's a tight opening range. And it's just kind of sitting. So we'll see. We'll see. If it pulls back, then we don't have signals. We still have setups. If it breaks to the upside, then our setups are turning into signals. That's where we are today. And if it doesn't happen today, that's where we are tomorrow. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm looking for. I would expect, since we're not talking again until next Wednesday, that we'll have bullish trades on by the time we talk next Wednesday. Ford dealing with supply chain interruptions from Baltimore bridge collapse. Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. the Taiwan Semiconductor. See what I said about chips? There's nothing really happening in chips. I would imagine if we look at SMH, same kind of a thing. Just it tried. If you looked at it back here, I'd be like, yeah. And then it just can't go anywhere. VIX looks fine. Walmart or Waste Management starting to move bullish again, right? Walmart looks like it's trying to turn. This is it. If you're ready to go, that's it. Biotech holding up. Materials looks like they're turning to start going higher again, which we're not stoked about that, right? Communication services looks good. Just waiting for the confirmation. Energy maybe pulling back. We'll see. Financials looks good, turning. Industrials looks good, turning. Technology still holding up. We're looking for a couple of things there. Staples, iffy. Utilities, yeah. Healthcare is kind of sideways. I don't think we're getting much surge, so I'm a little iffy on consumer discretionary. I'm looking at Home Depot though, as a potential. It's been real strong, but I would say I'm focused primarily from sector standpoint on industrials and financials. From the biggins, I like Microsoft and Meta, which covers technology and communication services. That's where I would expect to be in positions. There's a lot of good stuff in these flag tight patterns. I'm bullish. There we go. CTAS up big on earnings. Okay. They make uniforms, like work uniforms, school uniforms. Yeah, they did. Crushed it. Look at that. Merck. MRK. Merck is, what did they gap up on? Gapped up, but selling off. Interesting. All right, let's go look at this range one more time. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate that, sir. Yeah, it looks like we're actually kind of pushing down on the afternoon and then get confirmation. So be ready for that. If it pulls back, then fine. Another day of pullback. I start with an expectation of a bull flag. If I don't get a bull flag, it's just a pullback. Now, if I don't get the pullback, that what becomes cautionary at that point is if the pullback starts to turn into a sell-off. We don't want to sell off. Sell-off is when the sellers really start to push. Right now, what do we have? Pullbacks, mild, minor, ready to go the other way. Even with this happening here, we're giving back a little bit of the morning, but we knew that was a possibility, which is why we watched the opening range. All right. Well, you magnificent people, we will see this afternoon. So I would expect in our afternoon session, we may have some confirmation, maybe put on a trade or two. So I hope I'll see you there for some afternoon coffee. I'm going to go take a nap for a few hours to make sure I'm well rested for this afternoon's session. I need my beauty rest for sure. So join me in about 5 hours. Is that right? Join me 5 hours from now as we discuss the second half of Wednesday, which I believe will give us our opportunities. Remember, you're planning for a 3-day weekend when you're planning your trades. Other than that, it's a nice sunny day here. I hope you have a great spring weather coming your way. And I will see you guys in a few hours. If not, I will see you next week. And as always, my friends, happy trading.